There we go. Gotta find my mic. How you guys doing? A little bit better. A little bit better. How you guys doing? We're back. Okay. Second part of our coverage, and we're gonna steamroll through this now. So we're here for about a couple hours or so. But like I said, I'm gonna divide them into parts and everything. So the first part, I wanted to kind of give a backstory to the premonitions and the kind of preemptive knowing of what's the issues of forest and forest fires in California. What's the preemptive issues of the forest fires in California? So when this stuff is going on, I just wanted to give you evidence and hear it from the like even President Trump during his first term, and knowing that Gavin Newsom, he knows that what's going on, and that even like a lot of people that live there and even I kind of use some Joe Rogan clips to kind of know that a lot of people preemptively discuss this. So it's not only going on in the citizenry, it's in the government too. They know what's the issues is with the water flow from Canada into California, and that they routed California governor and the politicians in California routed the water, the big millions of gallons of water flow that goes into the water system in California. They routed it into the Pacific water so it wouldn't kill or harm smelt fish. Excuse me. A fish called smelt fish. Okay, and in the midst of doing that, they somehow kind of hurt being able to have water supply when you need it. So a lot of decisions were terribly made in the process of liberal idealism. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys in the first episode, the first part of this, that this is not something new or not knowing. So when you see all these deaths and all these losses and stuff, this is actually something that California government is saying is for the greater good that you die. It's for the greater good that your property get destroyed. And I want you guys to see that's the mindset of Californians. And now that the big spotlight is on them and the media is on them and they're asking questions through this actual forest fire that they're going through right now, I just wanted to kind of give you a little backstory to let you know before it started, this was the mindset of everyone in the country that's actually having conversations about this. Okay, so now now we go to the continuation. Now we go into the news of it. Now we're going to go into the first part. There's three parts that I'm gonna be kind of communicating. How it looked, what happened, how the storm kind of had a life of its own, and then we go into how the government and officials and everybody are trying to battle it, and then we go to the aftermath. So that's what we're going to be doing for the next hour or so, okay? So what I'm trying to do is try to get my internet speed back up, ramp it back up. It always takes about 10 minutes for me to, I don't know, man. It's just like, I don't know. Like, look, YouTube, you're not going to stop me. You're not going to stop me, okay? We're going to do this. We're going to be consistent, and we're going to drive our subscribers up. We only got like 6 subscribers now. Come on, y'all. Hit that like button, hit the follow, and subscribe. You have to do it. You have to do it. You guys are showing loyalty. You're giving super chats and Patreon memberships and all that crazy stuff to people that you're garbage if you don't pat them on, if you don't give them what they want. I'm trying. I hate when I come onto this podcast and I always try to hold my punches because you don't want to get into fights with subscriber. I mean, you don't want to get in fights with social media influencers and podcasters and stuff like that. You don't want to name people because it just gets you into something that you ain't trying to get into. Maybe you guys collaborate in the future or something like that. So you don't want to close all doors. But man, I'm so tired of the magnification of the social influencers and the podcasters and the politicians and the celebrities coming into the podcasting world, and then they kind of belittle their own audience and tell them how dumb they are, and then they say, "Hey, you're so dumb and weak. Look at you. Look at my life." You know what I mean? You know, and then you find out, if you go into the background of all of them, they have more of a solid, even like a lot of people think like because you have money now, but you grew up in the hood, that you're part of the actual majority. No, you still out of the normal, because when you put the fingerprints on it, when you go into the details of a lot of the powerful people, social media influencers and podcasters and celebrities and politicians and the high 1%, 2%, I'll even say the top 5% of every human being in this country, you'll find out that they had a solid father. No matter how below their poverty situation was, they had a solid father, or they had a mother that spoke greatness in their ear. You're the best. You're going to be the greatest. You're going to be the this. And that replaces the insecurities of not having a father. And then you find out they're Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Now, yes, Tupac got crazy little stupid issues with like the gangsterism and stuff, and it led to his demise. But the greatness of Tupac, that he was able to live in a successful and great in his life, his name lives in infamy, is because his mother spoke greatness into his ear. Steve Jobs, he was adopted, and his adopted parents spoke greatness into his ears on a day-to-day basis, and that's why he's where he is. Jay-Z, his mother spoke greatness into his ear. You know what I mean? Oprah Winfrey, her father had a mentor, a mindset communication into her. Maybe it was a little rough, but it spoke greatness. What these people have in common. LeBron James was giving everything from his mother as much as she could, and spoke greatness into his ear. Psychological makeup of a human being from 5 years old to 13 years old will make and break a person. Make or break a person. You get what I'm saying? The reason why I'm able to be here bloviating to you guys is because it's most majority because I was able to have some kind of, almost like it's a blessing to have a bird's eye view on everybody in my family, my mother, my father, my siblings, stepfather, everybody. I was having a bird's eye view, and then I had a desire to want something that I was seeing in the broad spectrum of the world. You know, I always say I went to school with a gentleman. First name was Jason. I'm not gonna say his last name, but his parents took care of him. He went to the same schools we did. Middle school, high school, we still in the same school. You get what I'm saying? Elementary, middle school, and high school. I went to school with this guy. And every single, his parents, new shoes, new clothing, car when he was supposed to have a car. And he was always well psychologically taken care of. And it made his outcomes. He was one of the highest graded students. And it was that mindset. And I'm only telling you guys this because as we fight the battle of so you got 7.8 billion people on the planet. 99% of them will be basic and lower class. Basic meaning like they barely touching the middle class and lower class. I think everything that social media influencers are doing and everything that podcasters are doing and the elite level up culture is doing, they're destroying the middle class. They're literally destroying the middle class, and they're making it where it's a lower class and a higher class, and that's it. That's the model. The level up culture, that's what the model is. That's where it's going to go to. It's not going to have acceptability for people that's really working hard, busting their ass, and doing the things that we need everybody to decide to do in this country, in this world. Like we telling garbage men, hey, if you're a garbage man over the age of 30, you a loser. You're a loser. You're supposed to upgrade yourself. You were supposed to do that job and then go to something else and go to something, magnify yourself as an entrepreneur and get a 6-figure salary. That's what we tell in our culture. That's the level up culture. That's why it's so despicable and it's ridiculous. And then people say, oh, well, you got a loser mindset. Nah. It's unrealistic to think that a person that get a Walmart job or Myers job or work at Popeye's Chicken didn't come from worse scenarios. And they was able to get a consistent job that they love. They go to work. They feel that they put more in society. They paying for their rent. They paying for the little $140,000 house that they can afford. They are extremely more successful than where they came from. Okay? It's not that they don't want more. They just trying to get a stability in what they achieving so far, and then maybe they magnify, maybe they want, but what they doing is excellent from where they came from. And for us to say in the culture and society that a person, if you work at, hey, you stock a shelf, if you in the actual the stock room or the truck delivery of Walmart and you making $20 an hour or $30 an hour, you're a loser. Cause all you're gonna get is 50 grand out of the year. You need to be a 6-figure. You get what I'm saying? That's the culture right now. Oh, you don't deserve no woman. You don't deserve no wife. You don't deserve no kids if you make it under 6-figure. That's the level up culture, and it's destroying how we interact with each other and humanity. So that's why my fight is to give people individual perspective. Because Individual Perspective Podcast, the purpose of me doing this is to let you know that you are the answers for you. So once you understand that I don't care how much this person has clout or money or status, you use them to give validation to great insight that you have or great insight that you need to have and ingest it into yourself. That's why you listen to something that somebody say, you go research it and vet it, and then you say, you know what? That stands up to scrutiny. Now I'll communicate it. Now I'll live it. Now I'll do it. You get what I'm saying? Because why? People always give advice, always do Patreon memberships and classes and module classes and seminars and meetups and all that stuff. But people don't put it into their soul and do it. Why? Because it has no relativeness to it. It has no personal connection to them. The only way you're going to get personal connection to something is if you sought it out. And if you sought it out, that means you comprehend it and you got value for it and you understand that the legitimacy of it because you vetted it. And now you take that tool, you go to the meetups, you go into the Patreon, you go to the classes, you do whatever information you need to arm yourself and pump your muscles and all that stuff because you preemptively decided, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use this, I'm going to use this to get to this end result, to go to this path. And you are the answer for you. Not the social media influencers. They just was bloviating, and you say, you know what? I want to kind of ingest that mindset a lot, so I'll use this person's rhetoric and all that stuff for them. Don't give them the credit that they are the difference between your success and your failure. You are. And if you use them as a screwdriver, go right ahead. But understand, you are the answers for you and your issues. And to have an individual perspective is to make sure that you vet any entry data that comes in and that processes in your head and your heart. And by the time you communicate it, and you got validation to it, and it holds up under scrutiny. That's what individual perspective is. So the fight is, we got to get, it's crazy because we got to get the American people, 350 million people that we can actually count. We got to get their head out of CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, CNN, Fox News, social influencer, podcasters that got 60 to 70% of the rhetoric that comes out of their mouth is their own ideology and their own arrogance and their own ego, and 30% of what you really wanted to talk them to report on. You get what I'm saying? So in order, even for me, I have to communicate this. I'm not about me. It's about you. I'm not trying to have you think like me. I'm trying to have you think like you. And do you even know if you're a you yet? That's what an individual perspective is. To make sure that you are you. Okay? And you're ingesting and spitting out and utilizing information that you can hold up and have truth, and that you know it's the truth, and you have objectivity into your analysis. And now when you communicate to somebody, you don't have to look back at a conversation you had 5 years ago and say, man, that didn't hold up. That didn't live through that didn't stand through the test of time. No. If you're over the age of 25 years old, nothing should come out of your mouth that you don't represent it 40 years from now. Or 30 years 20 years from that time that you open your mouth. I never have to backstep on anything I said. Anything. Any decision I made. I don't care if it's bad or good, or the outcome of it is bad or good. I had to do it in that time, and I don't regret it, because it still holds up to this day, because I knew I had to make this decision. And even in 20 years from now, even if it goes in this direction or it goes in this direction, I made the best decision right now, and I don't regret making that decision or saying that, because it holds up under scrutiny. It makes sense even to this day. I was right. I'm not saying I don't listen to nobody. I'm just saying I vet everything. I vet myself. I vet my mama. I vet my daddy. I vet my siblings. I vet my community. I vet the politicians, the community, the culture, celebrities. I don't care. Nobody has validity to me until I vet what the hell they got coming out of their mouth. Every sentence, every punctual, everything. I vet it. You're not going to put things in my head. I'm not going to communicate and not have accuracy to my communication. That's ridiculous, okay? I know. I went along on the rant. My internet speed is back. You know what I mean? Sometimes I do it just to do that, to get the system working back again. Okay, so let's go into the forest fire now. Let's react to it. A lot of this stuff I'll be reacting with you guys, because I haven't watched it all. I just grabbed things that I felt that's like the basis of it was something that I wanted to discuss, and I wanted to see myself what was going on. So, okay, so let's get to it, y'all.
Tens of thousands of people then forced out because of those fires. One area that has been totally evacuated is Malibu. As you know, that is home to many high-profile celebrities. Some are taking to social media to tell their stories. CBC's Yelena Adzik is tracking those messages. So who's sharing what, Yelena?
Yeah, you know, Suhanna, it's interesting because this is a perfect example of, a lot of times we like to think of, celebrities, they're so rich, it doesn't really matter because they're covered by insurance, and that sort of thing can happen on social media. But a lot of people are really turning to the fact that when you see these stark pictures of celebrities and their homes being gone, it just hits home that all of us would feel that way. I'm going to give you a look right now at Gerard Butler. This is someone who posted on Instagram stories, and it is quite sobering when you see that his house is gone. Take a look.
Welcome to my home in Malibu. I've gone.
Yeah, so there you see his home was destroyed by the Woolsey fire. This is in Southern California. And really, a lot of other celebrities, of course, who live there have been affected. And so they're sharing some of their stories. We've seen that come out with posts from Robin Thicke, as well as this pic you're seeing here, Orlando Bloom took of his area and around. You can see the fires lit up. And then Will Smith also took a moment to walk around his neighborhood and put the camera on himself and then pan over to some of the devastation to hit the point home that he has children. They were scared. They wanted him to go out and investigate, and they could see from their home this site. So, anyone, obviously, who has children or children in their life in any way, shape, or form, you can understand why that really does have that impact. Neil Young is another celebrity who's quite vocal. Now, he took an opportunity to remind people that he's lost his home before, so this is something that he's experienced. He also said, California is vulnerable, not because of poor forest management, as so-called the president would have us think. And he goes on to say, we are vulnerable because of climate change, and hopefully we can come together as a people to take climate change on. Neil Young.
See that? See that? Like, no, idiot. The science tell you that it's the management of it. Ain't got nothing to do with. You had no storms. It was not raining. It was not thundering. It was none of that stuff. This is because one thing caught on fire and it's brushed all through the place. So now you come. Boy, Neil Young's an idiot. Good music, but he's such a dumb idiot. And he's always been like that. He's so radical in his idea. This is a problem, y'all. And this is look. I'm a gentleman that I advocated for even for not advocated, but I kind of almost thought it was. I never even questioned it. The feminist movement of the last 40, 50 years, I never questioned it. I thought it was humane. I thought it was great to have women in the workforce and women kind of be in actual comparison and conflict with the outcome of a man. I didn't even care. I didn't even think of it that way until now. I'm listening to women and they're pissed. Women are upset. Men drop the ball and let them have victory. And women are like, oh, I don't care if we had the movement and we wanted to be independent and all that stuff. You guys really made us independent where we're making the money. We're making the majority of the money now. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not saying majority of the money in all the money that's made in America. I'm talking about men always lead in making money because it's part of our DNA to go and conquer and succeed and achieve and all the other stuff. So we find ways to solve problems and get it done and do whatever it needs to be done to kind of push the envelope. But at the same time, some of the success, some of the detriment of a lot of men in this country is because a lot of accounting and work stuff that would be in a normal situation, it would have been captured. You got to understand, for 200 to 2,000 years, America, the Western culture, Europe, all of them, men have been the breadwinners. Not only the breadwinners, they've been the actual 90% of the workforce, meaning for accounting, clerking, all that stuff. You get what I'm saying? Everything. Management, administration, and labor. Men have been the providers and the actual workers for those things. You bring in 50% of a workforce that was never supposed to be in existence. That means you got a competing interest. Now, some companies will split the difference. Will say, hey, you know what? So if we paid $1 for this job, we'll pay 50 cents. That way we can have men and women in the workforce. Okay? Most companies, they lower it. They keep more money than they thought. They retain money than they would have had to retain. And they give it to the most, I got options here now. So when you bring in 51 to 52% of the human population into the workforce, and now there's a competing interest between that 48% men now. So that's why, so a job that they used to get paid for $1, they get paid 50 cents for. Why? Because you got somebody that want the job and effectively can do the job just as effective as you can, or at least can do the job that we need them to do enough where we can pick if we want a man or woman. Okay? So that's the situation, y'all. That's the situation. And then you got the affirmative action and all that other stuff where you got to make room for a broader spectrum, culture, diverse sexuality, sexual gender, culture and stuff in the workforce. So just to hit a quota, companies do that. So I only bring that up to the Neil Diamond situation because it's idealism of thought. Might sound good. It might sound like it's a good idea. But fast forward to the outcome. We know what the feminist movement has done to civilization and the Western culture in America. We know the outcome of it now. We know it. We know the outcome of the climate change now. You guys are acting like we still trying to research this shit. We ain't researching this no more. You got data from 1880 to now about weather changes. Heat changes, the ozone, the hydrogen, and oxygen, and H2O and dioxide. We know it now, y'all. We got plenty of data. So just for this situation, this idiot says, oh, this ain't about bad management because Donald Trump says it's about bad management. You idiot, stop worrying about Donald Trump. Do your research. And he does. You think Neil Diamond don't know that it's because of the dry ass leaves on the ground and the dead wood that falls, and if some idiot flicks out a cigarette out of his car and it does a wildfire, and then what is it getting? It ain't thundering. So it ain't like it's thunder and it's raining, and then the thunder hit a tree and it cuts the tree on fire, and then the power comes from the tree, gets onto the leaves on the ground, and then that's the fire. And because it's the oxygen or it's too hot, the ozone is changing so much that it made it rain today. You can't say that, idiot. You can't say that. There's no storm. This is all human actual effort that did this. Somebody's barbecue pit next to the forest area, or somebody's house get on fire and then they don't know it's get on fire, and then there's particles next to the woods that caught on fire because they living on a mountain, and then it falls into the woods, and then it does a wildfire going down into the LA area, into Malibu, into come on, you man. This is ridiculous for him to say that. It's ridiculous. And it's like, and nobody gonna criticize this idiot. And then, look, that's why I gotta still show CBS News. I still gotta show CNN. I still gotta show Fox News. I still gotta show MSNBC. I still gotta show all these knuckleheads. That's why I'm fighting. I'm fighting so we are not supposed to be trying to destroy each other as podcasters and social influencers. We gotta pick people to take over. We gotta stop Americans, 350 million people, from needing to watch the news coverage of the media, CNN News, MSNBC News, Fox News, and I say Fox, I love Fox, but I'm putting you in there because your coverage of the Ukraine and Russia is totally biased. It's totally subjective. It has no objectivity into the reporting. It's garbage. I don't care about your reporter going over there to get injured. You guys sent him over there to get injured like that. You didn't equip him. You didn't let him. You let ideology be the dictatorship of how you covered Ukraine, and you almost cost a major reporter, a good reporter's life. And now his limbs and his body get maimed, and now he's back, and he got more opposition rhetoric coming from against Russia because I'm going all over the place here. That's why I criticize Fox News. I'll say this one thing, and I'll go back to the forest fire. I know how to get my thoughts together. Okay, Russia fighting Ukraine is like China or Russia funding Mexico to fight us. That's what it's like. Okay? That we put missiles in different equipment to shoot down our jets and stuff like that. That Russia puts and China puts missiles and equipment into Mexico to shoot down America's jets, America's planes. That's what we're doing in Ukraine. We're putting missiles and weaponry in high-tech American war fighting equipment in Ukraine to destroy Russia on their border. Russia said no. The reason why I don't want Ukraine is in the NATO, or I don't want Ukraine being managed by America, is because it's like having America on our border ready to destroy us at any given time. Well, you think we'll let Russia set up shop in Canada or Mexico? We would destroy Mexico. We would destroy Canada if they do anything except what we want them to do. So for Fox News to cover it how they've been covering it is totally illegitimate. And I'm fighting against them too. I still watch them. I watch all my cover. I give you my ratings. Watch you on the phone. Watch you on my TV. So you're getting the ratings from me. But it doesn't mean that I support you wholeheartedly. And if I could get these weak-ass podcasters with all this money, all this influence to actually do their job right and go all day and help build other podcasters to set up a 24-hour zone that we coverage. And literally, it's more about 16 hours. 6 in the morning to 11 at night. We got to come together to cover that time, y'all. We got to come together to cover that time. To have enough reporting and somebody coming to your channel that they could go to different stuff on your channel that actually occupies their time, and there's some validity to it. It's entertaining, but it's actually validity to the reporting that it allows for them not to have to turn on CNN, not have to turn on Fox News, not have to turn on MSNBC, CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, not have to deal with whack-ass podcasters and social influencers to call themselves reporting what's going on in our culture and our lives and in reporting news. It's ridiculous. So I gotta be here and my little nickel and diamond, because you guys not gonna super chat me. You're not gonna we go into my Cash App and not my Cash App, my Venmo or my PayPal, and help me get more people to help me cover the time that you need me to cover, shows that you need me to cover. Make sure that I'm hitting you and saying, don't turn on Fox News, don't turn on CNN. Come and check it out with us. We're reporting that subject because we're doing it all day. We got a big fight to do, y'all. We got a big productivity and a lot of work to do. And us biting each other's head off ain't gonna get us there. So when I see idiots like Neil Young, it lets me know this is what you guys allow. You allow these voices to have currency still. And it let me know we far from beating the big media. We far from it. The big movie studios own these news outlets. So you guys gotta, I don't know. Put it in my comments. I don't care. This is ridiculous. Follow, like, subscribe, please. Go into the links, Venmo, PayPal.
Because of poor forest management, as so-called the president would have us think. And Donald, he goes on to say, we are vulnerable because of climate change, and hopefully we can come together as a people to take climate change on. Neil Young's statement pretty much eviscerated Donald Trump and his approach to this kind of problem. So, overall, a lot being shared on social media, Suhana.
It's not business as usual right now in Hollywood with all of the attention on these wildfires and the heartache that Laura and I were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
such a liberal outlet, but I gotta show you guys this stuff. You need to hear all of them. Fox News, CNN, BBC, all of them. Just, it's no way that you guys gonna be able to hide that you're an idiot and that you're part of the problem if you don't make them hold up to your standard. And what you want? You want clear news. What really is. What's the data on it? What's the research on it? You need California to tell y'all why the forest fires are so aggressive? It's there. Like I said, it's sad because the most objective and real news and real reporting, no matter how nasty it is, no matter how much information is given that may not be digestible for the average person, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, is the most legitimate and informative outlet that's in our country. Sad. Not these podcasters, not these social influencers. They fail because so many of them are equated into the stuff that they got coming out of their mouth. They're fighting to not get demonetized, so they don't even know how to articulate themselves or not say the little buzzwords that might get you strikes. They don't even know how to do that and still be blunt and honest and real and take on the battle. It's ridiculous. You don't want to talk about the J Crew. So what you got to say is like, oh, we can't even say Jewish anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just ridiculous. I might get hit for that. This is ridiculous. Freedom of speech. First Amendment. Oh, well, it's a private company. They don't really have to have. You crazy? Anything that operates in that means, how do you stop somebody from taking American citizens' rights away from them on a universal public platform? You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about public platform. Is it accessible by the public? It's like walking on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? YouTube and a lot of the outlets, even the media, even the social influencers, even the podcasters, they have the culture of like walking on a sidewalk. You walking down a sidewalk on the street, not in front of somebody's house, on the street sidewalk. You walking the side, even the people in front of their people's house. You're walking into connections of the people's sidewalk, and you're continuously walking. You're walking. Okay, meaning that it's like your content is coming from you, going to the actual person that clicked on the video, that they chose to watch the video, they chose to click the video, they chose to stop and listen to the video. You get what I'm saying? So they decided that if you walk on the sidewalk with anything other than Nike shoes on, we're going to regulate. You know what I'm saying? We're going to say, hey, when you come, hey, baby, you maybe, this is in front of my house. This sidewalk is in front of my house. And I don't like people that wear Adidas or Reeboks or or whatever shoes you got on. You don't have Nike on. You go, as soon as you get to my driveway, you go into the street until you get to the next neighbor's driveway before you can actually walk on the sidewalk again. Don't walk on my sidewalk with any shoes except Nike. That's what y'all allowing this to happen. It's ridiculous. And I gotta come on here and hope that this doesn't get monetized. So I gotta take this episode and put it on Rumble, and I gotta make sure I got platforms. And then if I ever get time, I gotta cut it up into little segments because you guys can adjust 2 hours, 3 hours worth of great information. So you guys are fighting yourself. You're fighting me, but you're fighting yourself also. Because you don't want to be the system's fool. You do know that about yourself enough, that you don't want to be the system's fool.
Absolutely. And, the case in point is the People's Choice Awards. This was last night. Melissa McCarthy, she ended up in accepting an award. She wanted to share some of the feelings that she had. I'll show you that in a second. In the meantime, I'll just mention that some of the other people, like Mila Kunis, when she got up to accept an award for a comedy, she wanted to mention that people should take a minute to donate to the LAFD Foundation. Of course, this is for firefighters in LA. Same goes for Victoria Beckham. She ended up taking an award for a fashion category. And so she also said that, her heart goes out to all of the families and the victims, the people out there that have been affected. The Kardashians have been very actively posting. And now I'll give you a look at that clip I mentioned earlier with Melissa McCarthy.
Please keep the victims, volunteers, and firefighters in your thoughts, and any contributions to the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, $1, $10.
Because they stopped the audio? What's going on there? Is that me? Let me see. Let me look at this. Let me go look at this. Let me look at this to see if they just stopped. I mean, it don't matter what she's saying. It's ridiculous. It has no value in the real world. You know what I'm saying? It really has no value. So give me a second, because they're trying to give me that issue here. Gotta be able to control it.
McCarthy.
Please keep the victims, volunteers, and firefighters in your thoughts, and any contributions to the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, $1, $10.
That's interesting. Okay, let me see if this...
Tens of thousands of people then forced out because of those fires. One area that has been totally...
There is great power in this room and everyone who's watching.
That is exactly the point.
Yeah, so it was the other video. I had to bring the clip back.
Please keep the victims, volunteers, and firefighters in your thoughts, and any contributions to the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, $1, $10, 50 cents. It will be put to good use, and it will make a difference. There is great power in this room and everyone who's watching.
That is exactly.
Okay, I'm tired of these. This liberal outlet, whatever, I think this is like CBC or something like Canada Broadcasting or something like that. So I did enough, okay? Did enough. Enough liberal point of view is ridiculous.
Let's bring in Orange County Fire Chief Brian Fennessy. Chief, it's great to have you on the show. I just want to know how you look at these fires right now. We're hearing the biggest winds, the highest winds are coming in about 50 minutes, and they could be 70 plus miles per hour. What do you do? How do you fight fires in those types of situations, Chief?
Well, you're spot on. We're expecting it to get worse here very quickly and through the morning, and quite frankly, there's not a lot we can do in terms of suppressing them once they're ignited. Our main focus is getting people, lives out of the way of these fires and attacking it from the rear of those fires. And I heard the gentleman before talking about the winds moving in a southwest direction, and that's exactly right. A Santa Ana wind always blows out of the northeast, so it's one of the few fires we know exactly where the fire is going. The problem is many times there's not a lot we can do other than get people out of the way of these fires and then try to attack from then, and certainly in Palisades.
So he said there's nothing that they could do, and this is his job to know what to do, okay? So my question is why they got houses there? Why they letting people build houses? And these stupid celebrities and these rich, arrogant people, and just the ridiculousness of California. Why let people live on a coastline like in New York or any other state or in a forest area that can't be managed if something happens, like a forest fire, okay? Like, why? Well, people want to live here, so we'll let the houses burn down, and no matter how many times they rebuild it, let them burn down. It's the expense of. I'm done. I'm done. I'm tired of talking about the fight that's in front of us. Okay? You guys don't understand. You don't understand. Everything has the coding of destroying the purpose and the existence of people that we actually need. We utilize firemen, but if they don't make six figures, then, like, really? Gotta get somebody younger in there. You know what I mean? It's like everything. I think everything about our cultures. I think everything about our society is based on level up. The ability to level up to the specification of somebody's materialistic needs. We all want to go on vacation. We all want cars. We all want houses. We all want good stuff and good lifestyle and be able to have like a little bit more comfortability and smooth ability to the way that we live our life. We all want that. But do you destroy the functionality in a person, like effortlessly doing the job or applying for the job or even kind of having validity of the hard work that they do, that it doesn't matter if you're a fireman. If you're not making six figures, then you're not a fireman that deserves a wife. You're not a fireman that deserves a child. You're not a fireman that deserves some respect by the culture of civilization of humanity. Let's see your account. You're just a fireman that makes 50 grand a year, and that ain't good enough. So next, swipe right. You're just a garbage man that ain't making enough money. Swipe right. Your storage manager, your storage shipping shocker, your Amazon worker, and you're not making enough money. Swipe right. That's our culture. And I'm just using it in a relationship dynamics, but it's in the way that we deal with stuff. Are you telling me that majority of the California citizens don't care if their house get burnt down and every single thing that's inside that house get evaporated because they always got plenty of funding to rebuild their house, to get everything they lost? Like I said, Mel Gibson had I'm sure he got extremely luxury stuff. His house completely washed, even like they said, Gerard Butler and all them. But Mel Gibson had a book, a historical book. I don't know if it was a Christian book or a religious book, but it was 1,600 years old. 1,600-year-old book is worth some money, at least a few mil. Just for historical artist value. And the reason why he don't got it in a library, which he probably should, but he don't look at the possibility of his house get burnt down because the wind didn't blow the amber and the particles into his area, but now it did, and every single thing that was in there is gone. A 1,600-year-old book. So that's the kind of luxury and pompous that like Californians, good people, got in their head that they don't even care if everything gets burnt out because they can always like rebuild it. They got enough money to rebuild it. I don't even know. I'm gonna let the reporting guide me, but I'm going by what this. Who is this? Let me go back to see who this guy is when he introduces him.
Chief, it's great to have you on the show. I just want to know how. Let's bring in Orange County Fire Chief Brian.
Fire Chief. So when I'm talking like this man is supposed to have the answers. And listen to what he's saying.
Tennessee, Chief, it's great to have you on the show. I just want to know how you look at these.
And this is when it started, y'all. This is not like today, 2025, January 15th. This ain't today. This is what happened when it started about 8 to 10 days ago. This the fire chief, the dude that should know what's up before it happens. And this is what he go, oh, ain't nothing we can do. If that could happen at any given time and it ain't nothing y'all could do, why y'all got people living there? Crazy.
Fires right now. We're hearing the biggest winds, the highest winds are coming in about 50 minutes, and they could be 70 plus miles per hour. What do you do? How do you fight fires in those types of situations, Chief?
Well, you're spot on. What we're expecting.
I hope my voice is not irritating you guys because I'm yelling and wilding out. But you guys can't, this cannot be what's acceptable. Even the questioning and the reporting, he's just like, oh, we got to be able to have him come on to our air again. No, you destroy it. You destroy it. You destroy it, and then you do nothing but segments and go send some field reporters out there to antagonize him and ask him questions while he walking to the car and whatever he's doing if you can't get him to come on and do the interview. Don't just let him come on the air and bloviate and say something that's just ridiculous and you don't got no follow-up question to antagonize him. What? Hold on a second. Are you just saying that this is a natural thing? How did that fire start? What's the most likelihood that start the fire? What's the likelihood cause that starts the fires? Okay, in that situation, what are the precautions for the situation in that? Okay, and if it's a fire starts, is it any way that kind of that you could preemptively stop that from doing that? Okay. Now we hear from Trump and other people that it's because of the dry leaves and the dead woods and the dead fallen trees that it accelerates the fire. Is that true? Okay, is there anything you guys can do to manage that better? Nothing.
Expecting it to get worse here very quickly and through the morning, and quite frankly, there's not a lot we can do in terms of suppressing them once they're ignited. Our main focus is getting people, lives out of the way of these fires and attacking it from the rear of those fires. And I heard the gentleman before talking about the winds moving in a southwest direction, and that's exactly right. A Santa Ana wind always blows out of the northeast, so it's one of the few fires we know exactly where the fire is going. The problem is many times there's not a lot we can do other than get people out of the way of these fires and then try to attack from then. And certainly in Palisades, that's been the story of the day.
Chief, if you could, talk to us about resources. What are you hearing up there? Because we have some crews on the scene that say there are some neighborhoods where they see very few, if any, firefighters. I mean, we understand there's not really a lot you can do in these types of situations, but how are we doing crew-wise? What do we need? What's the support system need? And why are they not flying planes, and when will that happen?
Well, actually, that fire is up until about an hour ago has been the only fire in Southern California. So they've been what we would like to call resource rich. I've sent dozens of fire engines that way. I've sent helicopters.
Oh boy, his comments ain't living up to scrutiny now. 8 days ago, dude, your comments are not living up to, it's just a little fire and it's bad, but they got plenty of people there and all that. Dude. My standards for my podcast is more like it got more validity and more preemptive and foresight than the governor of California, the city mayor of LA, and the fire chief. It's just ridiculous. It's in the communication. There's no communication of foresight. There's no communication of preemptive measures. There's no communication of what's gonna happen. It's just, whatever happens, but hopefully it goes like every other situation that it goes off and it just blows into the Pacific and it doesn't blow east into the city. Oh, sorry about that. By the way, before I came on this air, it blew into the city east, and that ain't good because that's going to get a lot of houses on fire. Fast forward to now.
Crews, as have neighboring counties, CAL FIRE and others. So they're getting a lot of resource support. In terms of why they are or not in those neighborhoods, I can't say. I'm not there, and I don't want to second guess them. But we just broke another fire in LA County. It's now 300 acres. It's in Eaton Canyon, very steep area. And quite frankly, this is reminiscent of 2003 and 2007 when we had multiple fires, historic, strong Santa Ana winds. And we've got 3 days of these, and this is shaping up to be a big problem. And we will run out of resources very quick when we hit 3 or 4 fires with these winds blowing the way they are.
Chief, I appreciate your analysis. It's great information. If you could.
Yep, and that's another thing. All these anchors and these news people, I understand they got time frame and everything, but they want to get to the next question, they want to get to the next segment, and they want to get to the next news. But the greatness is now. Greatness is now, and it's just ridiculous. It's really, really, really crazy, and that's why I say citizen journalism is the future. But I do feel like the only way you can really see like just what it is, what life is, what's going on in the world and the human dynamics and the interaction of human beings, you got to go on X, formerly known as Twitter. And it's some of that stuff is hard to watch because it's too real. It's too just what it is. But it's better than putting your head in the cloud, watching these news conglomerate companies that got about $1 billion to $2 billion worth of spending cash flow a year to report news to you, and this is how they communicate. It's ridiculous. It really is.
All right, dude. Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry. We tried our best. Yeah, and when this tree falls, it's over.
Look at that.
I'm sorry, bro.
Look at the particles.
Get out of here.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, shit.
Almost look like a special effects. Like the tree, man. Like, look at this. It's almost look, you guys got us. I'm a filmmaker, so it's look. You get what I'm saying? They're like. I want to go back to it. It's a tree that had look at that. It's just eating into the tree. The fire's eating into the tree, and it's like it looked like somebody just put a actual effective fire on there and then feathered the area so it wouldn't look fake. Wow! My goodness!
Holy shit!
Yeah, he's trying to get people out of there. So all those houses probably the ones that burnt down. Because he was telling the guy as he was in the house, I'm sorry, man, we can't even help you. Obviously, he came in to try to help him out. But it didn't work out. He said it's too close. There's nothing we can do.
Yeah, let's get out of here. We tried, bro. I'm sorry. We tried our best.
Wow.
Yeah, and when this tree falls, it's over.
Said what is it, basketball hoops, so it's a beautiful suburban neighborhood and stuff. But boy, look, man, I told you we about to go in it. We about to go in it. This is going to be the big picture of this situation, and you only got to watch my series on this California raging firestorm. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. That's what you got to do. Hit that like, follow, subscribe, y'all. This is what I can afford to do to cover you guys like this. I want to bring people on the panel. I want us to discuss various of different topics in different situations. I want to go out and report for you guys. I even wanted to go do the actual inauguration, but I would have needed $5,000 to go do to kind of set myself up and kind of be able to report all that day through for you guys. But I don't got the $5,000. Okay, so. Best I'm gonna do is do this podcast and hope you guys have some love and give $1, $2, $5, put it into the Venmo and the PayPal and the link. Look, come on. Those platforms, PayPal and Venmo, is heavily guarded, heavily encrypted. You're not gonna get no crazy stuff that's happening with your data and all the other stuff. Sign up, give me the money, Take your account off the phone or close it down or sign out. That's all you do. You get what I'm saying? So this is ridiculous, and come on. I don't know what to tell you. I got a local on there too. Just put the money into the local account too. But it's all in the descriptions, options for you guys to give. You can actually give money on the super chats in the chat area on YouTube also, and Rumble when you see this video. But look, I'm asking for productivity, okay? Let's get to the next one.
Winds, even though, Brianna, the winds have died down, the wind is just taking these embers from the tree. They're all over the block, and they are moving to other houses, and you see new fires being created from these embers. This house is gone. I mean, just look.
At this time, it's at least two dead. It went up to 24, because I think that's what the current number is. So just letting you know, we walking through it, y'all. We walking through it. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. We gonna do it. We gonna have the full perspective of this whole thing and what was the reporting in it, and it will give you a general understanding of what happened from the beginning all the way up to now. Okay, y'all. So yeah, let's get on.
I mean, just look, all these houses are gone here. There's a fire crew here. I was talking to the captain earlier. They ran out of water here on this street about 30 minutes ago. They went, they hooked up the hydrants, they turned them on, the water ran out. So now they're just moving on to another area. What they did when they don't have water is they try to create defensive perimeters around houses that they think they can save, and those houses are houses that don't have a lot of bushes, hedges, plantings in front of them or around them, or if it does, they try to rip. They've spent like the last hour just trying to clear debris from houses to try to maybe save it, but it's a matter of luck or misfortune where these embers land, where the flames hop. This area over here, I want to show you. I mean, this house is completely.
You see, it says Pasadena, and this is Palisade, LA, all this stuff got hit. And it's saying that fires more than triple to 10,000 acres worth of fire. Like 10,000 acres of fire coming at the city, coming at the residents, coming into the living quarters and the residential areas and all that stuff. And then they say zero contained. Zero contained, meaning that they just letting it burn. They just letting it burn. It ain't no way. And then I'm giving you guys preemptive or current information that it wasn't just that fire hydrants in those areas that didn't have water. The whole state sucks with water in the fire hydrant. So they had to let all those houses burn. They said about 64,000 houses burned. Think of that. That's like a city, y'all. They didn't have no foresight on this, no preemptive. This is global warming. No, this dry as hell. It's dry as hell. Ain't no rain. This is all a fire starting from a flick of a cigarette, or somebody campfire got out of control, or somebody's house got on fire that it poured into the actual forest, and then this is preemptive knowledge. And if it's out of control, it's because of all that dead debris and stuff that's like, it's making it like it's a match, and it's just going whoosh, because it's got all that dry leaves and dry wood and fallen dead trees that it could just it catch on fire because it's so dry. It don't got no moisture to it. I was watching a podcast last night, and the guy was holding this conspiracy theory land. Oh, why is it a fully green tree, and its house is burnt all around it, but the tree is not even burned? Because the tree had a lot of moisture to it. Had a lot of moisture to it. And it didn't catch. The fire just didn't catch with the wood because it's moisture. Dry wood? Shit, it's like a lighting another match. Man, Look. I know I've been yelling for the last hour. I apologize. I really do. I'm so tired of who you guys support and who you don't support. I work for you. I'm fighting for you. I want to make sure that I communicate for you. But yes, I'm chastising myself and I'm chastising you guys and I'm chastising the industry because we cannot accept news like this anymore. Okay? And then I come to see that, like, you know, like Anderson Cooper, he's doing his thing and stuff, and he's like, okay, he spends 99% of his time being like biased, and then he's on the field, but if some big star, he drop it in. I don't care if it's war or he drop it in. And so he still got credibility as a journalist after the total destruction with credibility that he has done with himself as a journalist. But when he on the field, you got to watch him because he's there. He's in the midst of it all. You guys got to fund me a little bit. $1, $2, $5. Put it in the Venmo, put it in the PayPal, put it in any of the pay links that's at the bottom in the description. Stop, y'all. Look, no. It's giving up if you just let these people be the voice of communication to you. You're giving up. You're submitting to the system. Make us all have to live up to the standard. And yes, we're in a time that we have to build the infrastructure. We have to build new startups to go against these conglomerate people that's making Titanic is actually funding the news outlet. People that's making Star Wars and Marvel movies are funding the outlets. People are doing major movies that we love. Mission Impossible are funding the outlets, news outlets that's giving you terrible reporting.
John, we've watched this entire house burn down. The house next door, the car that you see over here, we watched that. The flames jumped from the house onto the car. There was a small explosion as the gas canister blew. But look, Brianna. See, there's two houses on fire. The third house down now. The roof has caught fire.
Yeah.
The fire captain was telling me they watch for the attics. Once you see smoke billowing out of the attic, and the attic is on fire, that house may be a lost cause. But it's like this. I mean, it's not just on this block. We just drove to Altadena, and just happened upon this block, got out, and I imagine it is like that. And you hear these explosions. There was an explosion that I caught. I put it on Instagram about 20 minutes ago from a house right down there. Just heard an explosion, and that is, gas canisters, propane tanks go off. So you hear these steady booms off in the distance or sometimes uncomfortably close. But look, see, that's the crew I was talking to before. They've now moved down. Their scope.
You guys got to understand, people can't even watch the news and do this. If it's smoking in your area, if it's fires that's on your street and stuff like that, it's close to everything. It's close to everything, so you got to get up and you got to relocate out of that city area. You got to go out the city. You got to go away from your house, 10, 20 miles away from your house in order to just hope it's there when they get in control of the fire. But you just heard the chief saying, oh, you know what? We ain't nothing we can do. Whew.
Scoping out, let's walk over. They're looking at these houses, I'm assuming. If they're going to stop here, maybe they would have decided these are defensible houses, and they're going to try to do what they can. There was a woman who lives in that house, that second house down there, about 5 minutes ago. We saw her on her lawn, and she looked very confused. And I mean, I'm no expert, but I said to her, I think you should leave. And she did. She had actually come back to just get some stuff. But when this house exploded, and it was quite loud, I think that freaked her out and made her realize maybe she should get out. Anyway, she got in her vehicle. She got her cat. She's gone. But it looks like this fire truck now, it looks like they're just going somewhere else. It's an extraordinary thing.
Just leave.
30 minutes from here
Wow. And you're watching as fire's going on. They're not even fighting it. They're not even fighting it. They're not even putting it out. They letting it go, just letting it go, and they go on. And he thought that the fire truck was gonna stop and start helping and setting up a zone for the other houses, but they left those. They just left. So it's a protocol that the fire department and everybody is going on. That's the most sensible situation of the whole endeavor. You get what I'm saying? The whole situation, they have what makes sense. And the situation for us layman people and the reporters, we don't understand why the fire department just left and they're not fighting, but they doing the most sensible thing to do. And for us, we're looking at it like, wow, 2 dead, little like certain houses in certain little areas. But then we find out now, fast forward, where we're going is that they didn't stop nothing. It was, hey, evacuate, make sure everybody out. That's about it. Boy, it's brutal.
Hollywood or West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, there's coffee shops open, and you can see smoke in the air. You get in your car, you come here. These areas are blocked off, but it's so close to where regular life is continuing.
Yeah, he's taking in a lot of that. It's like, you mean, I understand that it's natural fire, but the houses, it's like, you know, the paint and the different little materials, the brick, the roofs, sign on the roof, and just certain little elements that's in the houses and stuff. That's chemicals. You know, he's breathing like that, and he's like, you got all the, like, a lot of the 9/11 guys, they really got messed up. Like 10 years later, 6 years later, because of they were just breathing it in. And Anderson Cooper, he's breathing a lot of crazy stuff. It's wow.
And for the people on this block, their lives now are forever changed. Look, this fire is now spreading down this block. We've been watching this. Here's what happened on this block. This house was on flames. Let's walk over here. There's a down cable line, so we just want to be careful about that. Let's go around it. Okay, so now the house next door caught. This tree exploded into flames. You can see up in the palm trees now, those embers made those trees go on fire. I don't know if you can see through the smoke. Behind the palm trees, there are now these very tall vertical trees.
Wow.
I don't know much about shrubbery. I don't know what they're called, but they're huge, tall trees.
Great reporting. Great reporting. You get what I'm saying? It's great reporting. So I'm telling you, even when you're watching this, don't watch CNN. The situation makes them have to be objective in their reporting. But I'm telling you, 99% of the time, no, they are terrible. Subjective narrative, and this is how they're supposed to communicate about everything. And I always say, the problem with like Fox News and everybody, because they follow the same protocol. They have a conservative yabber, they have a liberal yabber and talk junk and stuff, and they talk junk to each other, and a Republican and a Democrat talk junk to each other, and they just let that be. The anchor never says, you know what, that's not true. We need to make sure that you guys get both of your opinion, but this is what the reporting is. This is what the file says. This is what the actual document said. This is what the actual proof and the factual evidence says. They don't do that before they end the segment or go on to a next question or something like that. And it's their job to do that. It's their job to do that, to keep objectivity and to keep actual accuracy, because people busting their ass, they working all day, all night, and they come home and they turn on CNN, they turn on Fox News, they turn on MSNBC, they turn on ABC News, they turn on CBS News, they turn on CBS News, ABC News, and NBC News, and all they want is the real data. What happened? Okay, give me all the information, and then I'll make it look like, I'll check it out in different outlets and I'll vet it to see how I should feel about it, and let my commentary about it be what's the actual data of it. But they put so much their subjective narrative into this stuff. It's like, I gotta kind of like really kind of put you into the mindset of how I got to be objective. He's doing good reporting by pointing out the trees that's in the forest area behind it, watching the palm tree not get evaporated by it because the palm tree got moisture to it. It's wild stuff, y'all. Wild stuff.
They're now just like flames shooting up into the air. This second house now, I mean, that is just gone.
Okay, let's jump ahead and see if he's kind of getting to some other stuff.
Cool. No house is on fire. There's a firefighter right over there. This is you can operate in this area. We obviously wouldn't be here if we would get out. We have been in this location for about an hour, just watching it is a sickening thing to watch the strategy of the fire, if you will. Not that it has thought, but how it jumps from one house to another. It jumps into the trees, and then the embers move. You literally see it happening in real time. And I mean, for homeowners who are watching this, it's just devastating. Now, potential issue, which we may move, I think we're going to move now, because this car, let's walk over here a little bit. This car from this house, I can see the trunk is now caught on fire. So if that car so look, you can see the back tires are aflame. So it's very possible there'll be some sort of.
And it's a cover. That's an old school dog. Oh, dog. That's an old school modeled car, dog. Like, dude, that thing, they probably put dough in it. Probably took something that they got the body for maybe like $7 grand. They probably put another 10 grand into the wheels and the look of it and the engine work and all that stuff. Dude, it's covered. It's not covered because of the forest fire. It's covered because they don't even drive it. It's like an old model car. They good. You get what I'm saying? It's getting destroyed. They leaving behind stuff like that, y'all. It's more than just, we could do. They got to communicate something else besides that. That's an old model car, dog. Oh.
Ignition from the gas. So we'll move a little bit more.
That's about to blow. Oh, that's about to blow.
These cars have already exploded, but it's so strange. I mean, there's cars parked on the street that have not been touched, and hopefully won't be.
Like, people didn't even take their cars. Like, where are you at?
Yeah,
you walked on foot.
The size of this is obviously something that, look, people in Los Angeles in this area, they're used to fires. They've seen this before. This is something that they have not seen. It may be, I don't know, we'll have to look at the historical records, but it is certainly up there with some of the worst fires. And the fact that there are, there's this fire, there's obviously the Palisades, which is the larger fire. I mean, this was called the smaller fire, and in terms of damage so far, it probably is. There's, I believe, 1,000 structures they've said in the Palisades. I don't know at this point what the count is, and frankly, any count that authorities give you, as you see, I mean, it's changing by the minute, at the whim.
Yeah, in Palisade, they said it was like 1,000 at the time that he did this reporting, but I think it got up to like 64,000 structures. Like crazy, dude. Woo! They just let stuff burn, and you watching like a $20,000 car get just evaporated. Like, they didn't even put their kid in it. Like, hey man, follow me out of here. I'm not gonna lose my old school model. Just let it sit. They just let it sit. And you got like people work cars, like they everyday use cars just on the curb there. I would say they not inside the house. So like, would they just walk on foot out of there? They jumped into another person's car. No, take your car too. You still gonna need transportation. Wild stuff, man.
Of these flames and the whim of these embers.
Anderson,
wow.
This is Boris Sanchez.
Yes, other people coming in. We don't need to hear all that. So let's go to the next clip.
Meantime, let's bring in a resident of neighboring North Santa Monica, Gabriel Gelati, along with search and rescue expert, retired Navy Captain Armin Kurdian, and the national correspondent Jeff Paul, who has covered many, many fires and knows exactly what these things can and cannot do. To you first, Gabriel, you're living just a stone's throw from where these flames are burning right now. What's your plan should this get worse?
I mean, yeah. Well, my parents were evacuated. The house I grew up in is right on the cusp near Yosemite, and they're out. I have an aunt who's in Rusty Canyon. She's out. My cousin in the Palisades, they're out. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on things.
When you say out, Gabriel, where are they going?
Well, my mom is at my sister's house. My parents are at my sister's.
Okay.
And my cousin is at another cousin's house. So, yeah, family for now.
And do they have somebody that can keep them in the know about what's happening in their neighborhoods, what's happening to their property? Is anybody staying back, or is everybody pretty much getting out?
Everybody's getting out. Yeah. No, they're. I mean, like the rest of us, they're on chat threads and getting information where they can.
Yeah, and what about you? Do you have like a timeline? Do you have a location? Because now we know just so people around the country know, the fire started in Pacific Palisades, which is a pocket of an area. It's a very wealthy area. It's a bit just right above the cliffs of between Santa Monica and Malibu. That's where the Pacific Palisades is. And as you go up those cliffs, you run into Brentwood. And then Brentwood is a little bit off the coast, and it runs kind of parallel with Santa Monica for quite some time. And it goes up there on the other side, and you can kind of get to those mountains, the Santa Monica Mountains, and you have Malibu over there. So they all run concurrent. Do we have some? Let's listen into our local affiliate, Fox 11, very quickly.
Yeah, I've rescued before. Yeah? Yeah. Well, please be safe. Yeah, thank you. You be safe too. Yeah. I think, Joab, we're going to have to end up moving because I could see all of the firefighters that were stationed at this location and the police officers. They already left. And again, this is New York Boulevard. Altadena is up here, and this is Bradley. And the building that is very close to being on fire, and it may be before the end of the night. I don't know exactly what it is, but I did see water meters. What does it say here? It's the Pasadena Tech Center.
Oh, wow.
That's in danger right now.
Okay, and
the
Gina,
Pasadena Tech Center.
I know you had heard at least one home on fire. When you made your travels there, did you actually see other homes on fire?
No, we didn't see any homes on fire. What we did see was
so intense.
Yeah, they right in the situation, and they're gonna have to kind of just get out of there and let that be, because, like, look, that's literally like yards away from them. You know what I mean? So they gotta move. They gotta go. You can't report that. You gotta let that area go. Wow, stuff, y'all.
Enter.
Oh, wow.
That's in danger right now.
Okay, and
the
Gina,
Pasadena Tech Center.
I know you had heard at least one home on fire. When you made your travels there, did you actually see other homes on fire?
No, we didn't see any homes on fire. What we did see was the large orange glow from the 210 freeway and that black smoke up there in the sky, and it just was so ominous. It was just, when you look at it, you're like, oh no, this cannot be good because it's spreading so fast. These winds are just unbelievable. We couldn't stand straight when we were in Upland, and then as you're driving, my recommendation is if you don't have to go anywhere, don't go anywhere, because driving is very dangerous right now. There's so much debris on the freeways that's just coming at you. It's just it's horrible driving conditions.
So we just broke into programming on Fox 11. So if you were just joining us, welcome to our coverage. Alex Michelson, Marla Tejas, Gina Silva is joining us right now from Altadena. All day we've been talking about this fire that we have been watching in Pacific Palisades. That's still burning out of control.
That is our team across the street at Fox 11. That is Alex Michelson there. Alex has been on the show.
Okay, yeah, so maybe that's all the reporting that they doing on the fire. I'm trying to see if they kind of, okay, I think he came in, but they actually gonna show a lot more of the coverage of it. So let me get to him.
It's horrible driving conditions.
So we just broke into programming on Fox 11. So if you were just joining us, welcome to our coverage. Alex Michelson, Marla Tejas, Gina Silva is joining us right now from Altadena. All day we've been talking about this fire that we have been watching.
So they're using one of the Fox outlets. So like if in Detroit it's Fox 2. So if something was going on here and it was like, our Fox 2 News was pretty much the actual right close up to what's going on, and they're actually able to cover it, Fox News would come in and use their outlet and what their reporters are reporting to kind of connect. Sometimes they'll talk to their actual field people too, field reporters and stuff like that. So in that situation, they're kind of listening to what airing whatever they're broadcasting on their local news. So I think once they start talking and everything, that's when Fox News anchor came in. And I see that.
In Pacific Palisades, that's still burning out of control.
That is our team across the street at Fox 11. That is Alex Michelson there. Alex has been on the show a number of times. They have been on wall-to-wall coverage here in Los Angeles. What you were just seeing is a KTTV Fox 11 reporter who is in Altadena. That is near Pasadena, and that is the Eaton fire. And I just want to bring Jeff Paul in very quickly here, the national correspondent, Jeff, because now we're hearing this Eaton fire is growing quickly as well.
I mean, it sounds like reportedly it's up to 400 acres. And what gives me a little concern is that earlier today, the Palisades fire was 200 acres, and we were kind of closely watching it, and then it just exploded. So to see this fire, I think earlier in the evening it was somewhere around 40 acres. Now it's 400 acres, and then the strongest winds are starting in the next hour or two and going to continue to 5 a.m. I'm really concerned about what this fire is going to do, being that it's already at 400 acres.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff's exactly right. Is that when I came into work, the fire in Pacific Palisades was at 200 acres, a little over 200 acres, some 260. Now, they only update every few hours. We have not gotten an update on the acreage burned in Pacific Palisades.
Yeah, because it's like, when it all said and done, it went up to like hundreds of acres and stuff. So it's like, I seen it like 64,000 houses and places got messed up. Whew. That's where we going, y'all. We're gonna cover this whole thing. I even opened up the second part of it to kind of like just go right into it. You get what I'm saying? So maybe I should kind of start it and not go straight into it, but I think this is still part of the reporting and stuff and what's going on with the actual coverage of it. And man, it's brutal, man. So let's see how it goes. Let's see if I would take a break and then come back in with the next thing, or we would just transfer over to the next files and everything.
For the better part of 2.5 hours, and at last checked, it was 2,900 plus acres, almost 3,000 acres. So if the timing is any kind of gauge, that fire from the time that I came into work until they gave the last update grew 150+%, because it was up to 1,200 acres. It grew from 1,200 to 2,900 acres in the better part of 2.5 hours. It's been 2.5 hours since we've last been briefed. There is a very good possibility that this fire has grown immensely in that amount of time. We're not going to get another update on the size of the fire, Jeff Paul, until sometime around 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's after all these massive winds come in. That is going to be a possibly stunning update.
And if anyone's ever been to the Pacific Palisades, and if you haven't, it is a very curvy area, like lots of twists and turns. Houses sort of built on top of each other. And so you think about a fire happening in this area, not only really dangerous for the people trying to get out, but think about the firefighters try to go in there, maybe drop some containment lines or something. And then on top of that, you've got all that fuel. It's dry conditions. You've got houses next to houses. So one house catches on fire. It's like flicking the ember of a cigarette. It goes on to the next one and catches on fire. And it's just this chain reaction. Those winds pick up, and they just take those embers, and you can see Matt Finn right now. He's clearing his eyes out. That's because he's got debris and probably embers flying right into his eye, right onto his face. I've been in that exact position. It's not fun, and it's extremely dangerous.
And it's worth noting that Jeff Paul and myself and Matt Finn, we have gone through these fire training exercises covering fires for many years. I mean, you have to go through them once, a couple of times a year, just so that you are current, just so that you know when you go out to the scene, you know how to behave, you know what to wear, you know where to go, and you know who to listen to and who not to listen to. But as you look at the live pictures from our Fox affiliate KTTV, you get a better
right
idea
on the mountain.
of the
Look at
scope
that.
of this fire and how big it is, because it was in the Pacific Palisades at 200 plus acres. It then exploded to 1,200 acres. It then exploded to 3,000 acres. And now we're getting information that this thing has pushed into or close to, I don't want to scare anybody, into and close to the Santa Monica border, which is next to the Palisades, next to Brentwood. And it is pushing, as our previous guest told us, it is pushing into the Brentwood area where
That's Los Angeles, man. It's all over the place. Because they said all this Palisade and all this stuff like that, but that's Los Angeles. You get what I'm saying? That's the cream of the crop of it. You get what I'm saying? That's Hollywood. The celebrities and movie stars and you know, it's like to live in a house in California, you're at least at $400,000 at the lowest. That's the lowest amount. I mean, so just think about that, y'all. The most grimy, hardcore, poverty, Hispanic family, black family, whatever. They're living in a $400,000 house, okay? And we barely getting ourselves into a financial situation in Michigan to get into a $400,000 house. You gotta be achievable. You gotta achieve some stuff in order to get into a $400,000 house in Michigan. But that's poverty for the people in California. That's like low income homes. Wow.
Evacuations are now being, I'm not sure they're being mandated, but they're certainly being requested at this point in time. I want to bring in Armin Kurdian, who is a search and rescue expert, Armin, because when you look at situations like this, we were talking to the chief earlier, you know how to mount resources. You know.
Yeah, and that was the chief that said, ain't nothing they can do. Let it burn.
How these things work, and sometimes when you don't have enough resources, it is going to be a struggle.
Trace, the chief made a very interesting discussion about the aviation side of it, and that they brought in some aviation, but now that it's night. And not only that, consider the fact that, you know, this fire, this intense heat, the air is rising from the ground very, very rapidly. Now you couple that with the winds, the eddies, the darkness, the hills, and it is exceptionally dangerous for aircraft to be flying in that area. So you could even have the resources, as he says, but you can't actually deploy them because you can't deploy them safely. And the last thing you want is you want your helicopters, you know, crashing into the ground. So
with the helicopters, we just looking at how it looks, how everything is burning. We just watching how everything is burning because ain't nothing we can do. What? Whew, I'm hoping in the next clips, because that's when we hear people's conversation about it and the media and the law enforcement and all they conversation. I mean, the actual people on the ground that's administrating this. I hope it's better than what this. Obviously, it wasn't. But I just want to hear what they said. I'm watching this just like you guys, so I'm covering this like 7 days after the fact, but it's to get a broader spectrum on it, and even me kind of bringing you into it is giving a more analysis of the situation, because you can always come back to these episodes that I'm doing, and it's California Raging Firestorm, and this is part 2 that we're actually doing right here. And I'm trying to, hopefully they got something better that they saying, because it don't sound good. It just sounds like they just watched it burn preemptively before it started. They just watched it burn. I think they thought about this, and I think they said, well, if it happens and it gets out of control, just let it burn. No preemptive stuff to it. It's just ridiculous.
The best thing you can do is you want to get them in place. You want to get them ready. You want to manned up, get that retardant full, get the water bombers full of water so that they can start deploying those resources, deploying those retardants in areas to try to build those fire breaks and at least slow the fire down, because time is not on the side of the firefighters, as he said.
And I think it's worth kind of explaining, and if you can, great, Armin. If not, maybe Jeff can jump in here. The reason they call these things firestorms in many occasions is because the fires make their own weather. These fires are so robust, they are so hot, they are so intense, they literally create their own weather, their own vortexes.
you've even seen them on TV like a Firenado. So basically what's happening is that hot air is rising so fast and rapidly, and you already have strong winds coming off of the desert. So now you have cool, moist air on the water. You have the hot, dry air coming in from the desert. You have this rapidly rising heat source. And basically what happens is this firestorm, it creates its own wind. So when...
But look at that, and they just all in wait. They just watching it burn. And I understand. I'm not saying that the police department, the fire department, is supposed to be doing something to an inevitable situation. But it's like, dude, that's what you pay your city council members for. That's what you pay your mayors for. That's what you pay your governor for, to invent precautions, situations to minimize this situation, just in case something that could be you can foresee that a fire may start in a mountain area and rush down into the actual residential area. You can foresee that. Why there's no technology? Why there's no infrastructure? Why there's no situation that's built for it? And it's because they did not want the water from Canada flowing into the city. Because they set up some kind of regulation to not hurt smelt fish. That's what the data said. Even if Trump's saying that, that's what the data's saying too. So it stopped them from having overwhelming amount of water resources to set up like sprinkler system or some crazy futuristic situation that California could absolutely pay for if their economy is $400 to $500 billion a year. Okay, so it's just ridiculous that they just letting this burn like this, and it's incompetent management going on here. So I'm gonna let this play. I'll go grab me another cup of coffee, but just let this play and let's finish this up. It's about 4 more minutes, and let's knock it on out.
That would normally maybe be 25, 30 miles an hour. That's why you're seeing these hurricane force gusts of wind at 70, 80 miles an hour that just come out of nowhere. The wind will be soft, and all of a sudden, boom, it'll knock you over. So this kind of thing will continue to occur. And as you mentioned earlier, you talked about the growth in the fire, this exponential growth. A fire could double in size every set period of time, and it's not necessarily in every direction. It could double in size in one particular direction, growing and expanding very, very fast in one direction. These fires can move at the speed of like 40, 50 miles an hour, so it's nothing to be nothing to toy with.
And not to scare you, Gabriel, but clearly, this fire is moving in different directions that nobody knows about, because the wind is kind of moving in different directions that nobody knows about. It is mainly coming from east to west, but in that capacity, it is also shifting and moving, and it's kind of moving and spreading north and south as well. I guess the comforting thing for you is this studio where we are right now is before your house. So if the fire was to move this way, we would evacuate before you were told to evacuate, if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you have things to do? Do you have people need to get out? Do you have stuff that you have already packed up, or what's the plan if this thing gets closer? You will have some time, but what is the plan?
Yeah. Like anyone else, we've got to sleep with one eye open, basically, and keep an eye on things. And we've got family and places to go if need be. But it's just amazing how fast it's moving.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing, Jeff, because they talk a lot about the 2007 wildfires in California, the 2003 wildfires. I covered both of those fires in San Diego and Los Angeles County. At one point, there were dozens of fires, and there were thousands and thousands of homes being consumed in those fires, and it lasted as long as the wind lasted. And when the wind died down, the fires were very quickly eradicated. But the fires last, like the chief was saying, as long as the wind lasts, because the wind is what's propelling these things primarily.
Absolutely. And you think about all those homes burning right now, that's what they're going to do right now. Those homes are just going to burn. And that's the unfortunate reality of the situation we're in, is this doing anything to try to protect these homes right now would only put these officials, these firefighters in danger, and it would just be a waste of resources because, like you said, the real fight happens once those winds knock down. And one thing I did want to bring up, that order from Santa Monica is a mandatory evacuation order. Yeah, they put it out on social media saying this is a lawful order. This is north of San Vicente. But I got to tell you, Trace, I live in Santa Monica. I'm not too far away from there. My partner works right there on San Vicente. This is hitting really close to home.
Yeah, it really is. And it's interesting, Armin, because when I talk about these fires of past years, you know, the firefighters literally would give up neighborhoods because they couldn't fight them. So because thousands of homes were burning, once a neighborhood primarily caught fire, they wouldn't go and protect the rest of the homes because they couldn't. There was no chance of saving. They would go to the next neighborhood and try and play defense there, and the next neighborhood, and it kept going and going for days.
There are so many analogies and similarities to military tactics. You know, the firefighters, they're the army. They're the ones who are out there on the front lines. And at some point, they have to say, you know, if I try to put this fire out in this location, I can't get my resources there. I'm not going to be able to do it. I have to make that judgment call, which is obviously very painful for some people in some neighborhoods to know that your house has to be sacrificed. But in order to save, you know, say 90% of a city, you have to say, okay, here's where we're going to set our line. We have the time to set up this line. We have the time to set up fire breaks. We have the time to set up an area where we're going to deprive the fire of its fuel. So at that point, it makes the fire slower, you know, fire breaks, flame retardant, earthen walls, whatever it needs to be. But the firefighters need that time to set up those barriers, and they can't do it if they're always right up against the front lines.
Let's go back to the scene very quickly, Armin.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Okay.
Doing anything to try to protect these homes right now would only put these officials, these firefighters in danger, and it would just be a waste of resources because, like you said, the real fight happens once those winds knock down. And one thing I did want to bring up, that order from Santa Monica is a mandatory evacuation.
It is. There was no chance of saving. They would go to the next neighborhood and try and play defense there, and the next neighborhood, and it kept going and going for days.
There are so many analogies.
Now they said like they couldn't stop it, and the firefighters would just leave and let the neighborhoods get burnt out and stuff. I'm not saying this, like I told you guys earlier, it's strategic. You got to make the most sensible thing to do is to let a whole neighborhood just burn down in this situation. I'm talking about it's like you guys are giving too much credit to the mayors, the governor, and all the people, the scientists and everybody. You guys got to understand, California ain't you. A state, whatever you live at, it ain't you. You know what I'm saying? You an innocent bystander to the whatever happens in the state that you live in and the city that you live in, and you'll manage your situation in case, like when whatever happens in the city happens or the state happens. States and cities are not like you. They preemptively know this. If this happens, we got this protocol set up. If this happens, this protocol set up. If this happened, this protocol set up. Why did they not know about the forest fire? Do you think they don't do studies on if the actual dry leaves on the forest floors or the dead trees in the forest floors add to the acceleration of fires? You don't think they got data on that? Yeah, absolutely they got data on that. They got, if the fire start here, if a house on the hill caught on fire and it particles and the embers spill into the actual forest area, what's the cause and effect of that? So when you guys are kind of saying, well, this is uncontrollable, this is a natural situation, it's not natural. This is very man-made. There's no storms, there's no thundering that made the actual, it wasn't so hot that it just made a dead leaf just cut on fire because the sun was beaming the sun on it, and it just created a fire, and it just made a fire. No, this is somebody flicking a cigarette butt into the forest. This is somebody starting a fire in an arson way with gasoline and accelerating it. It's somebody's house got some kind of situation, maybe something burnt in their house that it actually caught the house on fire. Then the particles of the amber of the house was like spilt into the forest next to them on the property, and then that because the house is on the hill, and then that started a forest fire. there, and then it migrated it down to the residential city areas where it's kind of, look, y'all, this is all foreseeable, all kind of manageable. Why you not asking for the answers? Why you not asking for them to explain it? Why, like 10 days later, and you guys not saying this is just ridiculous? If you were to have an election again, I bet you they would vote for a Democrat. Everybody in that state, majority. The next election in cities and states should be a Republican. Easy. Should overwhelmingly win. Not because Republicans are good, it's just that you need somebody to have a little bit more accountability and common sense thought process. So if people that's kind of like Trump and like how he thinks and like how he moves and like what's going on in his adversarial fighting against the system, then they were going to step up to the plate and be candidates. And that will let you know if they learn anything from something like this, man. You got Tesla leaving out of the city. You got Joe Rogan experience leaving out of the state. You losing too much money, too much future. You think that Apple and all the other companies don't got solutions for this, for Los Angeles and the different forest fire areas, that they can't come up with technology and everything? Or even, I don't care who it is. You think they not thinking of this stuff? Absolutely. This is a actual, this is for the greater good type of thing going on here. Some radical stuff in the midst of this thought process. And where does radical idealism come from? Socialist idealism. Where does socialist idealism come from? Communist idealism. Where does communist idealism come from? Dictatorship idealism. Meaning that Neil Young dumb idiots are part of the problem, and they devils. And if you give them too much power, you'll see how radical they will be against their enemies. It's ridiculous. Oh, it's hard. It's hard for me. I'm getting triggered, okay?
And similarities to military tactics. You know, the firefighters, they're the army. They're the ones who are out there on the front lines. And at some point, they have to say, you know, if I try to put this fire out in this location, I can't get my resources there, I'm not going to be able to do it. I have to make that judgment call, which is obviously very painful for some people in some neighborhoods to know that your house has to be sacrificed. But in order to save, you know, say 90% of a city, you have to say, okay, here's where we're going to set our line. We have the time to set up this line. We have the time to set up fire breaks. We have the time to set up an area where we're going to deprive the fire of its fuel. So at that point, it makes the fire slower, you know, fire breaks, flame retardant, earthen walls, whatever it needs to be. But the firefighters need that time to set up those barriers, and they can't do it if they're always right up against the front lines.
Let's go back.
Okay. I'll stop that right there. Okay, so technically I could shut this down and see how it would be. Let me look and see. I want to see if it works for me to just migrate over to the other file and where we could kind of catch up. So give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, yeah, now I got audio. Okay, that was my fault. I'm talking. That was hardcore. To transition over in this, if you could hear how the, if you see the software, what I actually did, you know that it was a pretty good system that I got here. Okay, so trying to see if it's coming through. Check. Oh yeah, it is. Okay, I had to check it because while I'm watching you guys, I have a feed to the stream, and then I have it how it plays to you guys playing. So got about 4 different monitors here that I gotta literally watch it. Yeah, it sounds good. Okay, yep, it's good. Turn that on down. Okay, so I guess we can go straight into this episode. You know what I mean? To the, kind of knock this out, and then we'll do the third one, final one that we know we can separate the files. That way we don't, Okay, so let's see. During overnight, while the fire was going, let's see what they were saying.
Massive wildfires in LA County raging out of control. At least 5 dead, thousands evacuated, an estimated $50 billion in damage. Matt Finn is on the ground with the latest. Matt.
Jesse, this Palisades fire started burning at about 10:30 in the morning yesterday. Here we are a day and a half later, and we are still looking at structures burning to the ground here on the famed Sunset Boulevard in downtown Pacific Palisades. To our left, to our right, we see plumes of smoke. All day long, Fox News has seen structures and homes continuing to burn and catching fire and burning here in the Pacific Palisades area. This neighborhood and surrounding region is absolutely not out of danger yet. And over towards Pasadena, the fire there continues to burn tonight. At least 5 people dead there. This is considered one of the worst fires, or the worst fire in the history of Los Angeles, and it will likely end up being one of the worst fires in the history of this state and this country, Jesse.
All right,
Wow.
Matt, thank you so much. Click here to subscribe to the...
Okay, sorry about that. I hate when they do that. Hate when that comes in. Subscribe. I use Fox News. I put them a credit in the bottom of the thing to click if you guys want to click on it. Okay, let's go to the next clip.
Here is a perspective that few people have witnessed. Our next guest flew into LAX after his United Airlines flight was rerouted and witnessed an aerial view of these catastrophic fires.
Mark Viniello is that passenger, joins us now. Mark, what's going through your mind when you look out your plane window and you see an absolute hellscape below?
You don't believe what you're seeing. I mean, how does anything prepare you for that view? I mean, it looked like we were flying over Mordor from Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, Mordor.
Yeah, so we said that your flight was rerouted. First of all, where were you supposed to land? And were you aware that these fires were burning when you were on the plane? Or was the first time you learned about them when you were looking down and saw what we're seeing right now, what you recorded?
Well, we were supposed to fly into Hollywood Burbank Airport, but they rerouted us because of high winds. I believe the Burbank Airport has shorter runways. And you had heard that a fire had broken out. And, being a California resident for a few years, you're like, oh, damn it, another fire. And with the high winds, you think this is not going to be good. But you can't comprehend the impact until you see it. And when I opened my window and just casually looked out, I mean, my jaw hit the floor. And I was like, this is a bad one. This is really bad. And, I'm still just can't believe what's happening. This is really
This morning, a massive and deadly wildfire emergency. It's gone. That's all we got. For a second straight night, wind-driven fires engulfing homes. And overnight, a new blaze popping up in the Hollywood Hills and Studio City. This home now massive.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That Hollywood Hills with the Hollywood sign and everything, man, they attacked that fire like a pit bull. Stop that area from getting burnt out. And that told me a little something, okay? I'll let a residential person from California say it, and if they say it, I'll air it. But that told me something. Because they attacked, man, they was not going to let that Hollywood sign get burnt. And boy, they attacked that like a pit bull. Very aggressive, very proactive, very like winning outcome. And that lets you know about, like, boy, they let a lot of, boy, it's just crazy.
Wildfire emergency.
It's gone. That's all we got.
For a second straight night, wind-driven fires engulfing homes. And overnight, a new blaze popping up in the Hollywood Hills and Studio City.
This home now collapsing.
Cars gridlocked, with the famous Hollywood Boulevard evacuated. Along the coast, the Palisades fire exploding to more than 15,000 acres. California's iconic Pacific Coast Highway, now a trail of burnt wreckage.
It's devastating. It is apocalyptic. You feel like you're on a movie set. This does not feel real.
It doesn't even look like a house anymore.
At the Eaton fire burning in Altadena, at least 5 people have died. As the fires began, smoke transforming a sunny day into eerie darkness. Last night, the destruction was plain everywhere. Days after this fire began, the flames continued to spread. This is all that's left of this school. The community mourning what's been lost, including famous residents like Billy Crystal, who wrote of his lost home, "Every inch of our house was filled with love." Paris Hilton watching hers burn on TV. And Mandy Moore writing, "I'm in shock."
I have never flown in conditions quite like this.
A time lapse showing the Palisades fire's rapid and terrifying growth. Overwhelmed fire crews working around the clock.
Here we go.
NBC Los Angeles learning that the LA fire chief warned in a memo last month that budget cuts would affect its response to emergencies. Mayor Karen.
Yeah, but he was on the news talking about, it's nothing we could do. It's nothing we could do. It's nothing we could do. But like I said, this episode is about accountability. Let's see what they say. Let's see, before we get to the aftermath, let's see what's the communication. That's what's going on in this. The first part of it was just to kind of let you guys see the preemptive understanding of it. And then in this episode, I'm kind of doing 2 things. Kind of let you see the actual raging of the fire, what was going on, and then what's the response of it. And then we're going to go to the aftermath, what's currently to this moment. So that the chief, like, yeah, this crazy lady, she took the $17 million out of the budget. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, hey, you got forests all around your stuff in your city. You can't even take the chance on that. You need to put that millions into some kind of sprinkler system or something, some waterfall situation to kind of, or some cleanup situation in the actual forest area. This is ridiculous. But all those computer tech people, AI people, all the people that's tech firm people, the innovative society in Silicon Valley and all of them, and the movie stars, the movie studios, all that stuff, they could have came up with ways to protect this country, to protect that state from fires and possible fires thing. But it's like a ideology to let nature destroy because it's for the greater good. It's crazy.
Bass pressed after.
And this ain't even nature. This is a fire started by people.
Arriving back in the city from a trip to Ghana.
Do you regret cutting the firing?
Learning that the LA fire chief warned in a memo last month.
I'm gonna let it catch back up with us. Sorry about that.
That budget cuts would affect its response to emergencies. Mayor Karen Bass pressed after arriving back in the city from a trip to Ghana.
Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Bass later saying budget cuts didn't affect the response. During the peak of the firestorm, city officials say hydrants unable to keep up with the extreme demand.
What is going on with the water situation?
We have had some issues with water. If you stick enough straws into a glass of water, it's going to empty faster.
Water!
NBC.
Sticking up straws into a glass of water is gonna. Yes, I can see that, but we have about 100 years of research of having unlimited water in the fire hydrants, okay, for any situation, especially if you're a high probable forest fire zone. It's hundreds of years how to manage that. So that you guys let your liberal ideology set liberal policies to limit the amount of water flow that comes into the state is the reason it's too many straws in a glass of water, and it's like, come on, that sounds cool and interesting. Oh, I understand. No, it's dumb. They got the Pacific Ocean, they got all that water flow, natural water flow, endless millions of water flow that comes from Canada. There's no reason why they don't have the most unlimited water supply in the world. They have actually specifically did stuff to put themselves in a situation where they're limited with water supply. It's ridiculous. But look, do your research.
He's Morgan Chesky, witnessing it firsthand on the Eaton fire.
Out of every fire hydrant you've seen, what have you found?
Right now, we're finding most of them are down or low pressure.
Dramatic before and after satellite images show the scope of the destruction, while a firestorm of unprecedented ferocity continues to rage.
Now, firefighters are doing the best they can, but there are still areas here that are smoldering. The situation yesterday and on Tuesday, we had 80 to 100 mile per hour gusts. Those are hurricane force winds. It would take smoldering embers like this and launch them, say, 3 to 5 miles away, introducing fire to neighborhoods that had no business being part of this blaze. So that's kind of the setup that we had. And right now, the winds have eased a bit, but later on this evening, typical Santa Ana winds, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts are still in the forecast, and it just makes it nearly impossible for these firefighters to control it. Hoda.
Okay, so that's next. Boy, look, man, y'all playing like how they conversate about this is like, oh, look what just happened. Look what happened. We know it's happened. We know that it's a reporting of what happened. But why is the response to it not modern? Not in 2025. This is almost like if we were in like 1800s, then the 1700s with no modern equipment, no modern ability to fight fires and stuff like that. They having the same results as a group of village people or town, a bunch of men in a town grabbing buckets of water, going to a well and getting the water bucket and then going trying to get out of force, trying to get out a commercial building that caught on fire. It's just like literally 1700 stuff, y'all. 1800 stuff. So you got to explain that to me. Why the response like the 1800s, 1700s? Ridiculous.
Lost their homes to fire yesterday. When we look at the pictures on the screen, they do not take us inside the grief and the anxiety. Please tell us how you're doing right now.
It's been a pretty rough couple of days. The fires came pretty quickly through Malibu and Palisades, and I think, from the videos that I was sending in, when I was first filming those, it felt like it wasn't going to be too bad, and now everything's gone. So it's been a very rough few days, and I know my dad and my mom are both feeling it, and I know a lot of Californians are feeling it, and I feel for all of them.
What was your effort like in terms of your parents' home? I know you tried to save your mother's home.
Yeah, I was one of the last people behind in the Palisades before the fire crew started pulling out, and I stayed as long as I could, tried to fight the fires that were coming right up to my mom's property line. And maybe it wasn't safe for me to be there, but I think, a lot of Californians feel that, their homes are valuable. There's valuable things and family memories. And so I thought I would give it a try. And I had to leave when the fire crew started evacuating. I thought that was the right time to go. But, definitely sad to see it's gone.
We keep hearing the words apocalyptic and historic. How long have you lived in Santa Monica?
I've been in Santa Monica a few years, but I grew up in the Palisades.
So you know the area well. Are those words fair about what this is?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm still a little bit sort of shocked from everything that I saw and witnessed so close. The power of fires, it's not something to be messed with. And I think apocalyptic is a pretty fine word to describe what's going on here right now.
The power of fires. The power of prayer must meet that now. Keaton, as you move forward, you hear things like water supply and no water pressure, boil your water. I mean, many people are not in a position, some of them can't afford to go to free hotels because they can't even get there at this point. And those resources will be gobbled up, I would imagine, pretty quickly. Talk to me about sustaining for people who are burned out of their houses.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most difficult things that people have to deal with now. I think, you've lost your home and you try to evacuate and you realize every hotel between Santa Monica and downtown is just about packed out because 30,000 people have had to all book hotel rooms at the same time. So I think that's, going to be an issue that we're going to have to figure out. And all these people who are displaced, I think it's going to be a really tough time. But I would advise everyone to stay inside and wear a mask if you go outside because it's definitely pretty dangerous conditions out here.
And we
backed out.
And that's what I was talking about with Anderson, where he's kind of like out there without his mask. I mean, with his mask off, doing the good reporting and stuff. But it was a lot of intake that he was taking. But like, maybe if he's not there, like taking that in every single day for 10 to 8 hours or something like that, then it would be good. But we're almost to the next clip.
That is feeling and going through everything that we're going through. And, I feel for everyone who's going through the same thing because it is devastating and it is shocking and it's your life turned upside down in a day.
You.
And so I think, you too.
And she just want to get to in the segment, so let's get to the next one.
Major mismanagement across the board. Well, we just heard that from Brian Claypool, and Steve Hilton lives in California as well. Fox News contributor Steve.
Harris, let's just take what Newsom said there head on. So, first of all, what is this guy doing? When confronted with the absolute disaster about water running out in the middle of this catastrophe, waving his arms around and saying, the local folks are going to figure it out. You're in charge, not some random bystander. And let's talk about his point on politicization and what he does every time. For example, there's one of these dreadful mass shootings. Before the bodies are even buried, he and all the Democrats are in there blaming Republicans, demanding policy change. So yes, it is the time to show why this natural disaster, of course disasters happen, but they are made so much worse in places that are badly run. And there is nowhere worse run than California today after more than a decade of one-party rule. Yes, the water issue, exactly as President Trump was saying. And I've been arguing, we've been putting out policy papers on how to solve this problem month after month on the fire. And
yeah, and they're doing commentary about it. So I don't really want to watch all that. Because he's like a commentary person. He's not an official person on the ground. So let's go to the next clip.
So the editors of the Free Press publishing a new piece titled "Paradise Lost." The burning of LA is not just a natural disaster, it's a man-made catastrophe. As we look at these extraordinary images in Granada Hills, California, Barry Weiss is founder and editor of the Free Press, and she joins me now. Barry, it's great to have you with us on set. Obviously, this is a story that raises so many of the questions that William just addressed and that you all speak about in your editorial today.
Right. I mean, no governor or mayor can prevent 100-mile-an-hour winds. no governor or mayor can prevent Santa Ana winds. This is part of LA, right? LA, and you could argue that LA is paradise, but built to burn. I mean, it's extraordinarily dry. There's tons of brush. There's lots of environmental factors that we can get into. But the reality, and I have lived in Los Angeles for the past 4 years of my life, the reality as anyone
I know. Her comment that LA is built to burn. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just what it is. Just the way that they structure everything. It just, if it blows, just like what Joe Rogan said in the first episode of this California raging firestorm that I have, where he was saying that somebody told him if the wind blows a certain way, the fire that people don't think that could happen, it will absolutely happen. And that she just saying it was clear to burn. It's just like, you know, and that's just ridiculous, because that means that like 600-year-old documents or books and stuff, you shouldn't have it in your house if it's a high probability of knowing that everything in LA could burn down at any given time. It's just I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say with the mindset here.
Twice the size of Manhattan, right? It's hard to conceive of how big this is. I woke up to text messages. Almost everyone we know has evacuated their home. We know people that have lost their homes. And the reason that there's so little trust, and the reason that you saw in that clip that mother confronting Governor Newsom with such rage, is because there's so much that led up to this moment.
Yeah, I missed that clip.
There's tons of brush. There's lots of environmental factors that we can get into. But the reality, and I have lived in Los Angeles for the past 4 years of my life, the reality, as anyone there will tell you, it does not matter if you identify as a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, is Los Angeles is being governed, and the state of California is being governed by people who have lost sight of the basics of governing. They have lost sight of the idea that we pay you a tax so that you take care of basics for us. And nothing could be more basic than preventing the burning down of, as you just said in your introduction, an area twice the size of Manhattan, right? It's hard to conceive of how big this is. I woke up to text messages. Almost everyone we know has evacuated their home. We know people that have lost their homes. And the reason that there's so little trust, and the reason that you saw in that clip that mother confronting Governor Newsom with such rage, is because there's so much that led up to this moment. There was, just to choose one example, in our neighborhood, a middle-class neighborhood in LA, not particularly fancy, the police, if you called them for a robbery, and there were many, many robberies in our neighborhood, they would take an hour, sometimes 2 hours to show up. It had become almost like Brazil. It had become normal for middle-class people, upper middle-class people, to pay for private security, despite the fact that they were paying enormously high taxes already. So was it the fact that, the city cut the...
I'm a jump because she's kind of
giving
giving
your
up.
family safe from crime, keeping you thinking. I'm thinking this is a person who is not... who are allowing...
Yeah, she's just complaining and commentating and stuff like that. Commentating, and it's okay, but it's like it's not reporting.
Here was
It's
reaction.
a point of
Co-host
view.
of the hit show, The Five, also a friend of the program, our friend Harold Ford Jr. Good to see you. Happy New Year, sir.
Same to you. Happy New Year, and congratulations on the great personal announcement.
Oh, I really appreciate it. It means the world. Thank you, and everyone's been really, really kind and supportive. All right, so you're... burdensome regulation that you think is smart.
Well, a lot of people...
Yeah, he's a commentary too. It's like, I guess, like they just talking a lot. You know what I'm saying? So let me go to some more reporting.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Trace Gallagher. This is special breaking news coverage. We interrupt Gutfeld to bring you the fires in Southern California. And breaking tonight on Fox News at Night, one of the wealthiest areas of Los Angeles, as you can see right there, is on fire at this hour, and with extremely high winds. We're talking about Santa Ana winds. The fire is rapidly expanding. In just a few hours, the fire grew from 1,200 acres to 3,000 plus acres. some 30,000 residents of Pacific Palisades, which is in West Los Angeles, very close to the ocean, have been evacuated. Now, more than 15,000 homes are now threatened, but that includes
problems.
A lot of other structures like businesses, and there's a high school. Palisades High School is also burning. That is the athletic fields. We don't know if any of the classrooms or the other facilities have burned, but the athletic fields were on fire as of a little while ago. Firefighters don't exactly know how many homes have been destroyed at this point, but it's certainly at least several dozen. You can see the wildfire sweeping there, and we have seen pictures of
several
dozens of homes in certain areas. And
several dozen would be about, what is that, like 80 or 100? You get what I'm saying? No, buddy. They said about 60, when it's all said and done, was like 64,000 houses and stuff, and buildings and commercial buildings and stuff. It's crazy.
Time from right now until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, we expect this to be the most volatile part of the evening. And some parts of Southern California could actually see hurricane force winds overnight. Let's get to the scene right now. Matt Finn is live in Pacific Palisades with the latest on what's happening on the ground. Matt, what do we know?
Well, Trace, we've been experiencing what you can call a firestorm, intense biting winds,
California raging firestorm,
and debris here in the Palisades area throughout the day and the evening. We've actually had to stabilize ourselves. The winds have been so strong here, and I'll show you right now. I'm standing along the Pacific Coast Highway in Temescal Canyon. You could see these flames burning homes, burning the soil, reaching the highway. At some points, the embers and flames appearing to kind of jump over the highway into the ocean area, but for now the fire is being contained against the PCH. And earlier today we saw homes burn. We've been hearing loud explosions and booms. There's another one right now, and we're kind of standing at a base area, a command post for LA Fire and police, and we are watching them kind of put together a strategy and a game plan. And every once in a while these flames kick up and they light up the night sky.
Yeah, they're about 3 days late.
And the conditions out here, Trace, are pretty much as bad as it can get for trying to control fires. We had the red flag warning here in Los Angeles. Authorities began warning people in Southern California about the possibility of fires today, and now we are witnessing basically worst case scenario. We've watched the flames and watched the fires rip through canyons, rip through the mountainside, the hillside, some of the the famous picturesque Southern California hills and canyons that you could see from the Santa Monica Pier, that you could see from Santa Monica and Malibu. That's what we're looking at right now. It looks like not much of any containment right here. What I'm witnessing, we are watching as fire crews are basically allowing this hillside to burn. The Pacific Coast Highway has been closed for hours in both directions. The only vehicles on the road right now are people trying to evacuate or emergency crews. Trace.
I understand, Matt, that you're west, so you're on the beach, you're very close to the ocean, and I know the fire has moved east. There are now some evacuation orders that are north of San Vicente Boulevard, meaning that the Brentwood area is getting some evacuation orders. I'm wondering, Matt, if you're hearing any signs that the fire is moving at all north and south, meaning north to Malibu and south into Santa Monica. Any word of that you're hearing? And I know you're kind of isolated, Matt, so no problem if you don't have that information, but what are you hearing from the firefighters on the ground?
Yeah, we are not getting any official word, but I've seen a lot of video and a lot of reports that this is certainly
a lot of this reporting when the news reporter say like, hey, we haven't really got any information or update numbers or any such a thing because it is out of their control, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to cover their ass. You get what I'm saying? So they just letting stuff just happen.
Threatening the Brentwood area. I believe I heard a local radio report that there are some evacuations in that area, but I don't have eyes on that area right now. But Trace, what we can tell you is we've been seeing embers being carried great distances, some of them blowing up against us and against our crews. So the threat of this fire spreading is even more rapidly than it is very real, Trace.
Yeah, Matt Finn, back to you as the news warrants. Matt, stay safe, if you will. Thank you. We should also point out that when we talk about these Santa Ana winds, it's important to know, you look at the pictures, you look at the flames, some of them, many of them, courtesy of our affiliate Fox 11 KTTV here in Los Angeles. But it's important to point out when you have Santa Ana winds that the winds are actually coming off of the desert and they are blowing toward the ocean, which is why when you see Matt Finn down there on the ocean, that is where the fire is going. The winds are pushing this to the east, toward the ocean. Normally in Los Angeles, the wind comes off of the ocean. So when the Santa Ana winds kick up, as a rule, the winds coming off the desert are hotter and they are drier. And that's what's happening tonight is they expect hurricane force winds to be pushing off of the desert, and the humidity temperatures are in the 10 to 13 to 15% range in areas like.
But the wind ain't causing the fires. The people are causing a fire, whatever is going on in the city, or a campfire, or some cigarette ashes, or whatever. So that's what's going on.
Los Angeles and the Pacific Palisades, and that means the conditions are extraordinarily dry, and dry conditions and hot winds and these kinds of high winds is very bad news. And as we have been reporting, the fire exploded late today, giving residents of Pacific Palisades very little time to evacuate on roads that are not only winding, but they are very narrow. Warrants, Matt, stay safe, if you will, off of the ocean. So when the Santa Ana winds kick up, as a rule, the winds coming off the desert are hotter and they are drier. And that's what's happening tonight is they expect hurricane force winds to be winds. It's important to know.
Yeah, because they ain't talking about how it nights. So I'm glad for the understanding what the actual situation is on the actual where's the wind coming from the desert and all that, and it's scuffling with the actual. You got the wind from the water and then the wind from the desert, and then they kind of come together and just start kind of spinning around each other and pushing it in certain ways. I understand that, but what's igniting it? People. Okay, igniting the fire. So otherwise it just be wind. Fire in the wind, that's the problem. So let's get the whole thing in there and talk about the ignition of this stuff.
Meantime, California Democratic Congressman George Whitesides was part of the effort to get the federal government to approve disaster assistance for those displaced by the fires. Let's bring in Congressman Whitesides now, whose district is just north of downtown Los Angeles. He's also the co-founder of Mega Fire Action, the first organization dedicated to solving America's mega fire crisis. So I know you've been meeting with local leaders. You've been looking at the damage. What surprises you the most? What stuns you the most?
You know, it looks like a war zone in Altadena and in the Palisades. My heart goes out to every family that has lost their home and their treasured possessions, and of course the folks who have lost lives or been injured. This is a very difficult moment for the history of Los Angeles, but we will rebuild once we get through the very difficult next few days with the wind. We will rebuild, and we will help people rebuild their lives.
What do you think is needed most right now?
Well, we're not out of the woods. As your reporters have been talking about, we are concerned about the higher winds that may be coming up tonight. We're concerned about the higher winds Monday through Wednesday. So we're definitely not through this yet. I think we have another, almost week probably to go before we're through this particular terrible incident. I think that we have a lot of, work on the other side, but we need to stay active, aware, have go bags ready, pay attention to the evacuation warnings and the evacuation orders as they come in right now.
Just heeding those.
Okay, so they just having a conversation about the aftermath. Not even the aftermath. They just, we can do. We just worried about next week, and this is messed up. And so look, the people that lost life, that sucks. And we watched some crazy stuff. We even the old school car, and even me telling you guys about Mel Gibson, 600-year-old book. I'm just saying that. I'm just letting you know that he had artwork. He had all kind of stuff that was worth millions of dollars, and just value resellable value, and he had to let it all get burnt up and save his son and all this and take their passports and stuff like that. And it's just a pinprick on some of the things. Hold on a second. What's going on here? Okay. Yeah, it's giving me a problem with something wrong with my signal. I guess it was just doing it for the moment or something like that. But look, that's all right. But like I said, hopefully you heard everything I was talking about in the last few minutes. It's a competence from the people. I think all the companies and the different fire chiefs are dealing with the forest fires year after year after year after year, and the mayor and the actual governor, and that they didn't have no precautions, that they don't understand that, hey, we got to route that water that we pushing into the Pacific. We gotta really get that going into the city so we can have a little bit more of an endless supply of water that's naturally supposed to come into the country, but we rerouted it for whatever ideology that we have, or, you know, like Trump said, it's for the smelt fish they try to save. But that's ridiculous. So look, that's pretty much get to show you guys what some of the reporting is and what the communication of it is. We're about to go into the aftermath of it, so we can hear a little bit. I'll probably go get a news. I think I got a news clippings of like the news reports of the actual mayor and the governor and stuff like that. But before I start it, I'm gonna actually make sure that I have that clip within the compound of everything. So all in all, we'll be back. Give us about 30 minutes to come back on air, and we'll finalize this with part 3. Please hit the follow, like, subscribe, go into the Venmo, go into the PayPal, give us $1, $2, $5. Please contribute to what we're doing on Individual Perspective Podcast, where your truth is the objective truth, because we're giving you objective news analyzation. Even if I'm expressive with myself, I've been honest with the mindset of it and what's the conclusion that I'm even giving. So I'll see you guys on the next episode. And it's like I said, it's gonna be, I'm gonna pop back up in here in about 30 more minutes. Okay. Thank you for joining us. We've had an early morning. We started about 8 o'clock, 8 something. I think 8:20, 8:30 is this morning. We got about another hour to go, and then we're wrapping this all up. Okay. See you guys on the next episode.